The day I planned to finally tell my family the truth about my career was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, my wedding day, but instead, it turned into a day when my family revealed their true feelings. For 10 years, they thought I was just Emma Parker, their adopted daughter working a regular office job in New York. They never knew I was actually Emma Chen, the youngest CEO in Silicon Valley, leading one of the top tech companies in the world. I had kept my success hidden, observing how they treated me compared to my real sister, Olivia. While they funded Olivia's failed business ideas and lavish apartments, I was told I should be thankful they had taken me in. The wedding was beautiful, held at the Ritz-Carlton, though I told them it was a lucky contest prize. My fiancé, David, knew the truth about who I was and supported my decision to keep it secret until after we said our vows. "Let them see the real you," he said, "when they can't hide behind the money." I should have known Olivia wouldn't let me have one peaceful day. As the minister asked if anyone objected, Olivia's voice cut through the chapel. "I object," she shouted, standing up in her fancy dress. "This whole wedding is a lie. She's not even part of our family." Guests started whispering, and my heart sank. "She's adopted," Olivia continued, full of malice. "Mom and Dad took her in out of pity when she was abandoned. Now she's trying to act like she's good enough for a family like David's?" I looked at my parents, hoping they'd stop her, but Mom just nodded, and Dad stared at the floor. "It's true," Mom said, standing up. "We've been too kind, letting her pretend she fits in. David, you should know what you're getting into. No real family, probably bad genes." David squeezed my hand, ready to stand up for me, but I gently stopped him. This was my moment. "You're right," I said softly, my voice filling the silence. "I'm not family. I never was." "Emma," Dad said, finally speaking up, "don't cause a scene. Maybe it's better if you just leave. You're embarrassing us." I looked at these people I'd tried so hard to make happy. Mom in the expensive dress I secretly paid for, Dad wearing the Rolex I'd won in a contest, Olivia covered in jewelry I'd bought with anonymous gifts. "Okay," I said calmly, "I'll leave." "Emma, no," David began, but I squeezed his hand. "Trust me," I whispered. Olivia smirked in victory as I walked down the aisle alone. The whispers followed me. "Poor adopted girl, not good enough, no real family." If only they knew. The next morning, I sat in my real office on the 50th floor of Chin Technologies headquarters. My assistant handed me the morning papers. My wedding disaster made the front page, but not for the reasons my family thought. Tech billionaire's wedding interrupted by family's shocking claims. The story went exactly as planned. My PR team had prepared for this moment. Within hours, the media was covering the full story: how I built Chin Technologies from a dorm room startup into a $50 billion company, how I had kept my success a secret while watching my adopted family's true nature unfold, how they belittled me and took advantage of my anonymous support. My phone started ringing at 6 a.m., first Mom, then Dad, then Olivia. Dozens of messages flooded in. "There must be a mistake. We need to talk. You don't understand." I let them all go to voicemail. At 9 a.m., just as I'd arranged, security escorted them into my office. The look on their faces when they saw me sitting behind the massive desk, with the Chin Technologies logo shining behind me, was worth every second of the past 10 years. "Welcome to my real office," I said calmly. "Please, take a seat. We have a lot to discuss." Mom's hands trembled. "Emma, sweetie, we can explain." "Explain what?" I pulled out a folder. "How you took millions of anonymous donations from me while telling everyone I was just a charity case. How you funded Olivia's failed businesses with my money while saying I wasn't ambitious enough." "That money came from a family trust," Olivia argued. "No," I slid the documents toward them. "It came from me, every penny. The trust fund ran out years ago because of Dad's bad investments. I've been supporting this family since I was 24. Dad's face turned pale. "But, your job, that tiny apartment. A cover. I wanted to see how you'd treat me without knowing my true worth. You've exceeded my lowest expectations." "You tricked us," Olivia yelled. "You pretended to be poor." "No," I corrected her. "I simply let you show me who you really are. And now." I pressed a button on my desk phone. "Send them in, please." David walked in with my legal team. My family's faces lit up, probably hoping David would defend them, but he took his place beside me, his hand on my shoulder. "The wedding will take place next month," I announced. "A private ceremony. You're not invited." "But we're family," Mom cried. "No," I said softly. "You made it clear yesterday that we're not. And now, We need to talk about the consequences of your actions. Security was already there, ready to escort them out, as they gathered their designer bags and wiped their tears. They had no idea this was only the beginning. Tomorrow, they would learn what it meant to lose the daughter they never thought was worth keeping. And I had a wedding to plan, one that was worthy of who I truly was, not the person they always wanted me to be. The media storm that followed was just as my PR team predicted. Tech Titans family drama dominated the headlines for weeks. Every major network wanted an exclusive on the adopted daughter turned secret billionaire. But I had other things to focus on. First was damage control, not for my family's reputation, but for my company. I built Chin Technologies on innovation and integrity, and I wasn't going to let this drama affect our stock price or employee morale. The morning after my family's visit to my office, I called an all-hands meeting. You've probably seen the news. I told my employees, yes, I kept my personal life private. No, this won't affect the company's direction or stability, and yes, the coffee in the break room is still free. That made everyone laugh. I've always believed in treating my employees like family, real family, not the one I was born into. My real work family had my back. By noon, #StandWithEmma was trending, with thousands of tech workers sharing stories about my leadership and kindness. Former interns shared how I mentored them personally. Engineers praised my hands-on approach to problem solving. It was the opposite of what Olivia and my parents had expected. They thought the scandal would ruin me. Instead, it made me relatable, the adopted girl who built an empire while staying humble. It was a story that people loved. But my family wasn't done yet. They first showed up at my apartment building, the modest one I'd used as cover. The doorman, who knew my real identity, turned them away. They then tried my office. Security had their pictures and stopped them at the lobby. Then came the emails, hundreds of them. Mom, we raised you. How can you be so ungrateful? Dad, your mom's having anxiety attacks. Is this what you want? Olivia, you think you're better than us just because you got lucky in tech? I had my assistant forward all of them to my legal team. Evidence. Because what they didn't know was that I'd been documenting everything for years. Every dismissive comment, every financial request, every time they took credit for my anonymous gifts while putting me down. A week after the failed wedding, my lawyer sent each of them a thick envelope. Inside was a detailed accounting of every penny I had given them over the years, the houses, the cars, the vacations, the failed businesses, everything, with accrued interest, now due immediately. They couldn't pay, of course, they'd spent it all, thinking the money would never run out. That's when phase 2 began. The family trust they claimed to rely on, I exposed that it had been empty for years, revealing that Dad had stolen from his own parents. Olivia's successful business ventures that she boasted about at parties, tax records proved they were just fronts, kept alive by my money. Mom's charity positions? The other board members quickly asked her to resign when they found out she'd been taking credit for my anonymous donations, and even pocketing some of the funds. Their society friends turned on them, country club memberships were cancelled, their credit cards were declined. Within a month, they were forced to sell their belongings just to cover their debts. Then David's family stepped in. I'd always wondered why David, who came from old money, supported my secret. Over dinner at his parents' estate, I finally learned why. We've known who you were for years, his mother confessed. When David told us he was dating Emma Chen, we did our research, but we saw how you lived modestly and treated others. That spoke more about your character than any bank balance could. David squeezed my hand. That's why I never pushed you to reveal yourself. You needed to see who loved Emma Parker before they knew about Emma Chen. I rescheduled my wedding for exactly 1 month later, and this time, no expense was spared. The guest list was full of tech innovators, global philanthropists, and real friends who had known my secret and kept it. On the morning of the wedding, I got a text from Olivia. You've made your point. We're family. You can stop punishing us now. I showed it to David, and without needing words, he knew what to do. He called his assistant while I finished my makeup. An hour before the ceremony, as guests were being seated at the Four Seasons, my family made one last desperate attempt. They showed up in their finest remaining clothes, now designer knockoffs, trying to claim they were the bride's parents. Security didn't kick them out. Instead, they escorted them to a small side room where a TV showed a live stream of another wedding, the one my family had interrupted at the local church. A couple of actors were playing out the wedding they ruined. They could watch it, just as I had been forced to watch their cruelty. My real ceremony was perfect. Tech royalty mixed with old money, and reporters respectfully stayed in the background. David's parents sat in the front row, beaming. During the reception, my assistant handed me a note. My family had sat through the entire fake ceremony, slowly realizing they hadn't even been invited to the real one. Your revenge is complete, David whispered as we danced. Ready to let it go? I smiled, thinking about the final part of my plan. Almost. The next day, as David and I left for our honeymoon, my lawyers delivered 3 more envelopes. Inside each was a check, enough for my family to live modestly for 1 year, and a business proposal. Real jobs, entry-level positions at Chin Technology subsidiaries, no shortcuts, no nepotism, a chance to earn their own way, if they were willing to work for it. They'd have to use different last names. Of course, Parker was my past, Chen was my future. Mom and Dad never cashed their checks or showed up for their interviews. Their pride wouldn't let them start over. But Olivia surprised me. 6 months later, my assistant forwarded me a performance review. Olivia Parker, now going by Olivia Grant, was excelling as a junior sales rep at one of our smaller offices. Her manager praised her hard work and humility. Should we tell her it's your company? My assistant asked. No, I replied, thinking of the lesson I had spent years learning. Let her earn it. David and I returned from our honeymoon to a new home and a new life. Chin Technologies kept growing. The scandal became a footnote, then a legend in Silicon Valley. These days, when people ask about my family, I tell them the truth. Family isn't about blood or adoption papers. It's about who stands by you, celebrates your success without taking credit, and loves you for who you truly are, not for what you can give them. My parents still send birthday cards to my office, full of apologies and excuses. I throw them into the archive, evidence of who they really are, in case they ever try to rewrite history. Society magazines love to highlight the irony. The unwanted adopted daughter became the one thing her family always dreamed of, truly successful. But the real irony? In trying to prove I wasn't family, they proved they never deserved to be mine. As for me, I'm too busy building things to worry about what they think anymore. Companies, technologies, real relationships. After all, I'm Emma Chen, and I have work to do. P.S. Last week, Olivia earned her first promotion. She did it entirely on merit, never knowing she was working for her sister's company. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't destruction, it's giving someone the chance to become better than they were, even if they never know who gave them that chance.